We're John and Lisa, and we're spending 70 days eating our way across Asia. After our 3-day food tour of Phnom Penh, we took a bus to Sihanoukville port before setting sail for the Cambodian islands, starting off at the magical Koh Rong Sanloem. We'd be spending 4 nights on the island, including New Year's Eve, before moving on to the neighbouring island, Koh Rong. This was one of the parts of our trip that we'd been looking forward to the most, and honestly, it didn't disappoint. But we'll be sharing our honest views on the islands, both good and bad, as well as eating everything in sight, as usual. If you enjoy our content and you want to see more, we'd really appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. Last time you saw us, we'd just got off the Giant Ibis bus at Sihanoukville Ferry Terminal. We were heading to M'Pai Bay Pier in Koh Rong Sanloem, and we knew that only 2 of the many boat companies here operate that route, GTVC and GTVC. We headed straight for the GTVC office and booked tickets for the next crossing, which was at 2 PM. The ticket office is air-conditioned and had a friendly dog in there, but after a while we moved on to their pierside waiting room. There's a big 7-Eleven at the ferry port, which is handy, but be aware that it's cash only. It's a lot better stocked than any shop you'll find on the islands though, so if you want to buy anything to take with you, now's the time. On that subject, it's worth pointing out that there are no ATMs on either of the Koh Rong Islands, so carry plenty of USD or Riel with you, and don't expect everywhere to take card payments either.
Right, we're finally on the boat. Yeah, it should be leaving in a couple of minutes. There's not a lot of information about like pier numbers. They give you a pier number, but there's no numbers on piers. So you have to listen. So you have to like just be vigilant when the boats come and like go and ask them where they're going, and then you will eventually get that pointed in the right direction. It's pretty full at the moment, but I think they have like an overspill boat as well, because there seems to be one that goes to Koh Rong, one that goes to Sanloem, and then the spare one. So yeah.
We're going to Sanloem.
Yes, we are.
Approximately 40 minutes later, we arrived at M'Pai Bay. Koh Rong Sanloem is the smaller and, for now at least, the less developed of the 2 islands. And M'Pai Bay is the only proper village here, with a handful of independent cafes and restaurants, which sounded far more appealing to us than swanky resorts. It's also a lot easier on the wallet. The one thing M'Pai Bay possibly lacks is a really good beach, but that's not a problem if you're staying here, as you'll see if you carry on watching.
So we walked from M'Pai Bay to M'Pai Plankton Beach. Not far at all, maybe 10-15 minutes, leisurely stroll. Look at it, it's amazing. And hardly anyone here as well. Yeah. It's great that there's such a good beach so close to the town.
Nice long beach there.
Yeah, it's really long.
Plankton Beach is an excellent swimming spot and a perfect place to relax, with plenty of shade and hardly any people, even in peak season. The water was also lovely and warm, and actually very clean, but there was quite a bit of plastic around at the back of the beach. More on that later.
It's that time again, dinner. We are in a restaurant called Macondo. It's a guest house as well, but the menu is very appealing because they've got like dumplings on, got like this 12 dumpling starter, and then we've got rice bowls coming, so braised pork and another which is tofu and mushroom.
We thought that it had been literally days since we'd had any dumplings and Chinese food, so...
Well, why not?
Well, now I'm seeing that I'm very glad about it too.
Do you want to try one?
Let's try one. Which ones are these?
Sichuan, I think.
Let's save
Sichuan.
Go with one of the plated ones.
Yeah, this is like pork, I think. Pork and cabbage. I'm going to try one of these then. Try not to drip soy sauce all over myself. I went for beef and pepper. Very nice.
Yeah,
No, spicy.
Good flavour and a little bit of spice. Frosty.
Yeah, good.
I like the wrapper too. It's got a little chew to it.
Well, we ate all those dumplings in about 30 seconds, so that's how good they were.
I really like those dumplings. They're all different as well, and if you come to Koh Rong Sanloem and M'Pai Bay, you definitely come here.
Yeah, really delicious. This is the vegan rice bowl. It's tofu and shiitake mushroom. It's very nice actually. Yeah, it looks like there's a bit of sauce in there as well, seasoning sauce. Yeah, tasty. I mean, the way they've cut up the tofu, it almost looks like meat anyway. I wouldn't even really know that it was necessarily a vegetarian dish.
Definitely not. It's a big chicken or pork.
Yeah. That's a braised pork.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it's got a lot of flavour in there.
I'm getting the citron and pepper in it again.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of heat to it.
But it's not overpowering. There's a lot of spices in there, so yeah, really happy with this.
Tasty. Food was already good. The information about the dumpling class. Yeah, we really enjoyed it. We'd definitely recommend it.
Yeah, both. I really enjoyed both the rice bowls and the dumplings were like stand out there. But we do love dumplings, don't we? So
yeah, exactly. Who doesn't love dumplings?
The only sad thing is when you order dumplings and they turn out to being just bought from the cash and carry. And it's great when you go somewhere and they're actually making them and they're proper like this place. So
and we're like, is 12 too many? And the answer is no, 12 is not enough.
Get 24. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe not.
Catch you later.
Bye.
For breakfast or lunch, you won't go far wrong with Bong's at the beach near the pier. It's also a great place to grab a beer by the sea, or if you're a walking stereotype like me, a cup of Yorkshire tea 6,000 miles from home.
Morning.
Morning.
So we're just setting off on a walk to Clearwater Bay. It's another beach that we've seen on Google. It looks pretty nice, pretty big.
Yeah, so we were at Plankton Beach yesterday. It's just like around the bend of there. But it should take about, I think, an hour and a half.
Yeah, it looks on Google Maps like there isn't a track there, but we've seen a blog article from 2019. I think they were lively tells it is, and they even put a map on there, which is pretty useful. So they do like boat excursions to this, so you can go snorkeling there and stuff like that. But we decided to go on foot, so yeah, we'll see how we get on.
Let's start. This is the bridge out of town. This is where we start.
About 10 minutes after leaving M'Pai Bay, we got to Plankton Beach, where we'd spent the previous afternoon. It was still early in the day, and the tide was all the way in, which was about to throw a bit of a spanner in the works.
Okay, so we made it to the other side of this pier, but only just. There's like a wooden bridge down there that's like disintegrated at one end, so we decided to jump over this sandbank. The problem we have is the tide's right in, so we try to walk a little bit away, but like it's like in all the way around that corner. So
like mangrove trees.
Yeah, so we've come back to the pier and we're going to try and find a path through here because there's some sort of dilapidated resort here, and I think there's a way through here. We haven't given up yet. So we had to abort the first attempt because the tide was too high and we couldn't find the path. So we sort of sat on the beach for about an hour, went back to the pier area, walked back along the sort of coast edge until we found a small path in, but we had to go back in the water and find another second one. You're going to pass lots of places like this with all this sort of rubbish. And this is really close to the shore. And it's kind of in between the shore and sometimes it's like a little bit of like sort of swamp water. I don't think that's a technical term, but it's my term. So there is kind of a trodden down path, more so than when we're trying to find the initial one, because it was just all like overgrown. But yeah, this has given me more hope because it's actually been trodden down. So yeah, let's see if we can find it. But advice so far, stick close to the shoreline and don't go in high tide. If you see the blue pipe, then know it's the right way. Plus, this is the only bit of the forest that looks like there's any kind of path. It's a bit of an adventure for us, but looks like it should be very rewarding when we get there. Okay, I don't think we've come the right way, but it looks like we are going in the right direction according to maps. But this is kind of like some kind of road. Bring plenty of sunscreen, a hat and water, but we'll write in the description. But there was a blog I read that said follow the blue pipe, don't go up or down till you get to the road. We did go up at some point and we found this. It might be a shortcut, but it's going to be a bastard to get down, I'll tell you that. But anyway, should be worth it. Hope I don't die. So we went over the top of the hill and yay, we found the half-built complex. So John was right. We didn't die, we didn't run out of water. If we take the same way back, it's going to be very steep going down, but we'll tackle that when it comes. So this is Driftwood Pier, which is basically right next to Clearwater Bay. Been past it on a boat a couple of times and it's just the blot on the landscape. But
Speaking of which, can't see it on the horizon. You can see Sihanoukville there.
yeah, there's Sihanoukville. I can see in the distance. I'll try and zoom in, but probably not. Yeah, you can sort of see a landmass there. That's Sihanoukville. Right, better put this away before I go arse over tit. Bye-bye. So what actually happened was this building site is live and we had to walk through a live building site with very little language because no data. I tried to speak Cantonese. There's like a Chinese construction manager there. So I was saying like waterfront in Cantonese, which he kind of understood and like pointing us through. But no one really batted an eyelid to two foreigners in swimming trunks walking around in like 35-degree sun who are like completely lost.
Taking the way among JCB, typically debris.
Yeah, we just walked through a giant clay clod that they were laying down. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend this route, but we will be reaching the sea in approximately 3 minutes or less. Look, we're here.
There's a boat there.
There's a boat there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. What we're going to do now is go directly to that boat and find out when it goes back and where it goes to and how much. Wish us luck. Look, there's no one here. We made it and it's all ours. Where is everyone? This is our reward. It may not have gone as smoothly as we hoped, but look, we are literally the only people on the beach. The boat by the pier is out of commission. We went and found a lady there and I asked her and she just shook her head. So looks like we're going to be finding our own way back again. It's all part of the adventure.
Clearwater Bay, Koh Rong Sanloem. Look at it. Just look at it. There's no one on this beach apart from myself and Lisa. And just look at the water. Clear water. I can really see why it got its name. It's unbelievable. Just look at that. And as for the sands, we found some similar to this on For Walk. It's so white. It's almost like it looks like snow. And when you walk on it, it's crispy. It's like fresh snow. Just look at that. Look at the colour of that sand. Honestly, like in a few years, I hate to say it, but there's going to be a 5-star hotel here, and it's not going to be empty like this because this is a hidden gem.
Once we shook off the nagging feeling that we might never make it off that dirt track through the jungle, we were rewarded with a magical few hours on a beautiful deserted beach. Was it worth it? Yes, of course. It was one of the highlights of our whole trip. This is where you want to come, my friends. This is what you want.
So we took a different route up. We went directly near the far side of the resort and went up that way, and then went through a little sort of village of the construction worker and their families. And this is just the back of it. We're coming out of here. There is actually a little shop. You can buy some water. So we bought a large water just now to stop us from like dying on the way back, which is good. Well, yeah, it's a different route out, but hopefully a little easier. Everyone's just pointed us in this direction. We'll see if we have to do any giant downhills or anything out of the ordinary, because the way up was certainly a little steep. Yeah, but like the workers' village, slightly less terrifying than the actual construction site. There were some like sort of not aggressive dogs, but barky dogs, and some very large flying beetles.
Yeah, so just don't worry about the beetles. With the dogs, don't look at them. Don't stop.
And keep your hands by your side.
Don't put your hands in your pockets. Yeah, don't stick your arms out.
Yeah, keep your arms in. That's our dog advice. Now I'm going to come out of this section pretty quickly because I think there are some bugs. Bye! Okay, so we followed the path out of the workers' village and it led to this, which is like just the other side of the headland, and you can see the water on this side now, so it's quite a sort of woody path. Yeah, I think much more preferable to like the way that we came, which was like a big dirty construction road. And pass this to him because I'm going to have to.
A big dirty construction road, and it was massively hot.
Yeah.
And very dusty, and with that lingering sense that we might not actually make it to the other side.
Oh, we almost didn't, except we had to ask the workers to let us through twice.
Yeah, because if that had been a building site in the US or the UK, there's no way they would have let us pass. We'd have been going right back to the beginning, and that would have been a very, very sad video.
But hey, we made it out the other side, and we kind of almost found the way back using the path we should have used all along.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
The biggest obstacle we encountered on the way back was this broken down bridge. Luckily though, we were able to scramble across the gorge without too much fuss. Then all that was left for us was to wade through the water back onto Plankton Beach. Bear in mind that you won't be able to do this at high tide, so check the tide times before taking on this hike. We made it back to M'Pai Bay just in time for sunset, so we walked up the dusty hill to Viewpoint Bar on the edge of town for some much needed liquid refreshment. Lisa found this place on Google Maps and thought the sunset view would be worth the walk. She definitely wasn't wrong. There's also a large roof terrace on the level above if the place ever gets crowded, but we had no issues finding a good vantage point, and we came here every night. On most Paradise Islands, you'd be paying Western bar prices to enjoy this kind of view, but this place was actually really good value. We'd heard good things about Spicy 23, a Thai Khmer fusion restaurant in M'Pai Bay, so we went to check it out. The place gets really busy, and it's a good job that we'd already had a starter before we arrived.
For whatever reason, it's like mega slow tonight. We've been here for about an hour waiting for food. But we've got this aubergine, smoked aubergine and chicken dish, and we've also got the fish amok.
Yeah, it's a good job that we decided to have a starter tonight, so we went and got 12 of the dumplings that we had last night.
It's like we knew. It's like we knew.
Boy, am I glad I made that decision.
I'm gonna start with a bit of this fish amok.
Okay.
We actually asked for the aubergine to be spicy, but I think they've made it the other way around. But like, okay, it's fine. Sure, it's fine.
Still not spicy, but it is very tasty.
It's because they made the fish spicy. So the fish amok's quite spicy, but nice.
I'm alright with it.
Yeah, fine. Right, better eat this now before we get too hangry. Bye.
We really enjoyed our meal at Spicy 23, even if none of it was that spicy. But if you're hungry and it's busy when you arrive, consider getting a starter elsewhere first.
Morning.
We'll come for a spot of breakfast.
Yeah, Seapony Cafe.
Lovely stuff.
Right, thank you. Oh, nice. So, we were told they do really good breakfast, and they do their own bagels. So, John's got the bacon avo BLT, and I've got loaded bacon and egg. Look at that. Bit of yolk porn, is that a thing still? Looks pretty big. Yeah, it's like a really cool space. They have an extensive coffee menu too, so there's like 2 types of brew available, and like a very extensive breakfast menu. They do lunch as well, like sort of sandwiches, salads, wraps. Yeah, treat yourself, why not?
The staff were really nice and the bagels and coffee were excellent. Put this place on your list.
So that's the main pier there. We're taking a boat today to Saracen Bay, so it's like $5 per person each way. Leaves at 10:30 in the morning and comes back at 5:30. So we'll be there all day.
Despite its postcard perfect appearance, we didn't quite know what to expect from Saracen Bay. Most of the island's resorts are there, and we'd seen some people say the development is taking its toll. But let's just say we got a very pleasant surprise when we arrived.
Right, so we've just arrived. This is Paradise Pier, Saracen Bay. Looks pretty sweet. So yeah, the boat dropped us here and said be back at 5 p.m. So it's just the whole day here. It's a supply boat, so they bring us over and then they bring supplies back. Yeah, boat ride, pretty smooth. Yeah, wasn't that long, what, 20 minutes or something maybe? Maybe a bit longer.
We're expecting to find a busy beach with lots of development and a very touristic feel. And yes, there are plenty of resorts here, but you'd mostly never know it, especially at the Paradise Pier end of the beach.
Sand is very nice, white, crisp, soft.
The water was perfect for swimming, and the trees that line the beach gave us some much needed shade. It's fair to say that this was shaping up to be one of our best New Year's Eves ever. After a couple of hours, we stopped for some lunch. To be honest, none of the restaurants behind the beach looked particularly appealing, but we eventually settled on one called the Big Easy. It was simple but good, and I make no apologies whatsoever for ordering a club sandwich. 10 out of 10 for the fries too.
So it's about 4 p.m, time for us to leave soon. So you can see it's not really busy. It's not been busy today comparative to other touristy beaches you go to, so that's really nice. But there is a lot of this sort of dilapidation, so you see that this old pier.
So yeah, Saracen Bay looks idyllic at first glance. Crystal clear water, swaying palms, the works. But that's only part of the story. In early 2023, the Cambodian government declared that most of the businesses on the island, yep, including the ones that have been here for years, were illegal. Apparently the whole island was leased to 2 mega developers years ago, and now the authorities are actually following through. Eviction notices were slapped on resorts, buildings were marked for demolition, and most owners were offered no compensation at all. Saracen Bay got hit the hardest. What's left is a strange mix of paradise and abandonment, dump rubbish, half-dismantled bungalows and green fencing hiding God knows what. Meanwhile, wide roads are being bulldozed through the jungle, just like the one we found on the way to Clearwater Bay, showing us what is to come. Quieter spots like M'Pai Bay have been spared for now, but how long they'll stay untouched is anyone's guess. So yeah, this may be paradise, but it's changing fast, and not everyone's invited to what comes next. Plastic pollution is a global problem, but it's heartbreaking to see how widespread it is here. On Plankton Beach, we met a couple spending their afternoon picking up rubbish, doing a good thing, but the sad reality, there's nowhere for it to go. Bags of collected plastic just sit behind the beaches, slowly breaking down into microplastics or getting washed back into the sea, and over time the rubbish just builds up all over again. But even with problems like these, we certainly wouldn't be put off from coming here again.
The beach is still stunning.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Look.
This is what you come for.
Yeah, this kind of beach is the whole reason why I wanted to come to the Cambodian islands. Look, it's like...
And it is. It's amazing. It's amazing. If you don't look behind you, if you don't happen to see any plastic, like, you can say this is beautiful. Everything here is like amazing.
Find a great section of the beach that's clean. You can go in the sea. It's perfect. It's shallow way out. It's warm. The sand's lovely and fine. Really, you can't get much better for a beach. But obviously, there are the problems that you discussed. But would it put me off coming here? No.
All that was left for us was to see in the new year back in M'Pai Bay, where locals, expats and travellers all had a great night celebrating together. Our trip to Koh Rong Sanloem had been unforgettable, but it was time to move on. The next day we'd be catching a boat to its bigger neighbour Koh Rong, the final stop off on our Cambodian adventure. Massive thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe.
Yeah, bigger one for you.
I'm just gonna he can have big.
Yeah, like give him the big one. Anyway, looks quite good.
It's funny when everyone made jokes, fat jokes about myself here. No one's gone like, no, you're not. Don't worry.
Anyway.
The honest Cambodian way.